where questions will be screened by league members Annette Holcomb and Cindy Madigan. They will be screened for legibility and clarity and to avoid duplication. Each candidate will be asked to respond to the same question during the debate portion. For this debate, candidates rolled the dice, and the high roller had the choice of going first with their opening statement or having the last closing statement. In this case, candidate Paul Bulanoff will go first. And so, with all of the rules covered, let's get started. Timers, are you ready? And candidates then. Candidate Bulanoff, would you please start with your opening statement?
Good morning. My name is Paul Bulanoff, and I have lived in multiple countries, states, and cities. I've seen a lot, traveled, but I've always been drawn back to my hometown of Ferndale. My family immigrated in '96 and settled here and called it our home. We were given a lot of opportunities when we came to this nation. My father wanted the best for the family. We came expecting to work hard and to do whatever it takes to have a good life for us and our family. I graduated from Ferndale High School. I grew up on these streets. It's been 23 years now. I love this city. I love what it stands for. I love the small town feel. After graduating from Ferndale High School, part of who I am is sort of a go-getter approach. I'll do whatever it takes to get things done, whether in life and relationships. So I started as a business owner in real estate. I've been doing that ever since. I do have some background in property management. I hopped from sales to management in the past 14, 13 years. So I've gained a lot of knowledge and experience doing those things, being thrown into properties that were mismanaged, mishandled, not knowing what to do, but just being given that opportunity and saying, go ahead, learn on your own, get it done. And I was pretty successful doing that up to this day. I also joined the Coast Guard Reserve. I respect our nation. I love our nation and what it stands for. And as a young kid, I always wanted to serve in the military. Coast Guard always stood out to me, protecting our coastal lands. So I was serving as a reserveman here in Station Bellingham for a number of years. I learned things like honor, devotion to duty, respect. And for those reasons, I want to be a council member in this great hometown and to make good decisions for our citizens and to make a positive impact. Was it 1 minute or two? Two, thank you.
And candidate Hawkinson.
When I decided to run for city council, it wasn't because I wanted recognition or money or some sort of power. It's because I hear the people of Ferndale crying out to be represented fairly, and I listened. Many candidates have platforms or specific issues or agendas that they'll do anything to accomplish. And I admire that, though that's not my end goal. My focus is fair representation. My agenda is to bring a voice to those who are feeling unheard by an imperfect and sometimes ineffective system. Not everyone works regular hours or can be away from home to attend numerous meetings every week, though I know many of you want to be more involved and heard. That's where I come in. I want your calls, your emails, your rants and raves. I want to hear what you think is working and what you think needs to be improved. More than that, I want to hear your ideas, and I want to bring those ideas to the table in a real way. I know that we can make things happen, great things happen together in the future. I'm not here to argue politics. I believe that varying opinions are healthy and that they lead to checks and balances. But at a local level, we need to focus on the things we're all worried about: safety, traffic, water. The things that we can actually work together to solve in Ferndale. This is our city, our lives. Let's come together to unite Ferndale and make it an even better place to live. I'm not asking you to cross over party lines or change your mind about the issues of importance to you. I'm asking you, myself included, to completely ignore party lines and come together for something bigger. I promise to listen. I promise to represent you. I promise that our voices will be heard. Let me step up to solve the problems that we're being faced with daily. Let me help to give you what you've wanted for a long time. A Ferndale that is more effective government to its people and the people who choose to do business here. I'm not talking about business as usual. I'm talking about a new way, a better way. Allie Hawkinson.
Thank you. And now we will begin with candidate Bulanoff. If you were given $1 million grant for the city, what would you do with it and why?
I wish that money in politics or government went as far as they do maybe in our personal life. But $1 million may sound like a lot. I think it's not that much money, but it's a great deal of resources that we can put to work. When I heard that question, the first thought that came to mind is investing in technology for the city, for giving access to the residents and people who live here to either speak to the community, speak to the city officials. Also, the utility billing system that we use now, I think, is a little bit outdated and behind other cities. I would invest into a better system for paying our utilities, and also just investing that into the future. How can we use that $1 million to create more money and also have somebody match it so that we can put it to more work? Thank you.
And candidate Hawkinson.
First of all, let me apologize for my shaky voice. I'm a little bit sick today, but I'm going to do my best to get through this without coughing all over the microphone. If I had access to $1,000 or $1 million, I would put it into a resource center and community center. There's not much for our kids to do here in Ferndale. There's not a lot of places for us to come together as a community and get to know each other. And I feel like that's where we're really lacking right now for our youth and for people who want to get to know each other in Ferndale and connect. And yeah, I would put it towards a community center and staff that and make sure that it's safe and that we have someplace to go, that we can come together.
And then we will begin with candidate Hawkinson. If elected, what issue facing the city of Ferndale would be your #1 priority and why?
If elected, my #1 priority, even before being elected, and even if I'm not elected, will be to help your voices to be heard, to listen to every community member. Because right now, what I'm hearing, I'm out there constantly talking to people and getting your opinions and really listening. And what I'm hearing is that you feel like the city and the council is not listening to you. You feel like your voices are not being heard. And I think that the city and the council are more effective when your voices are heard, when you are represented. So that's what I would do.
And candidate Bulanov.
Cost of living, affordability would be the primary focus, or one of the most important things that I would look at. We talk about affordable housing, and that's what I'd like. We are still one of the most affordable cities in the county, but with the continued increase of fees and everything, so I'd look for ways to deregulate things and find savings for our residents, whether through utilities, whether through permits, whether through other fees that we've created. So that's ordinances, that's regulations. I know that in the last 5 years, we've passed over 200 ordinances that have directly impacted the cost of living, the cost of housing and rents and so on. So those are the things that I would look into and find ways to save money for our residents.
And we will begin this question with candidate Bulanov. Do you believe that additional revenue is needed to run the city? What principles will you use to decide when and how to increase taxes or fees?
Great question. I'm sure that most of us have seen the ballot that came in the mail already. More than half of it is all tax increases. I don't know how most of you would feel about that. So that's important that we not increase taxes unless we really, really need to. To answer the question more effectively, I think I would need to get up to speed on more specific numbers with the city to answer it more correctly. So that's what I would stand. But in general, don't pass taxes unless we really need to. Find ways to maybe reprogram some funds and allocate them to different programs. But again, if we need to pass more increases, more taxes, I know how you're going to feel about it, because I'm not going to be excited or happy about it. Let's find different ways to make our projects happen and for the city to continue to flourish.
And candidate Hawkinson.
Well, I would look at something and I would say, do the voters want it? Do we need it? And have we exhausted all other options? Have we gone after grants? Have we looked at where we can get it from somewhere else in the budget, if maybe we're not spending all of the budget somewhere else? And then, before moving forward with taxing taxing us more. I mean, it's all of us, as Paul said. I would take a look at the budget. I would look, line item. Is everything that we're spending money on, is that something that you want? Is that something that we need? Is there something that we can cut out that maybe is not needed to, pay for something that you really want and need, so that we're not reaching into your pockets again, over and over again?
And we will begin this question with candidate Hawkinson. Ferndale is one of the fastest growing cities north of Everett. Can you identify 2 opportunities and 2 challenges that growth has created in Ferndale?
Well, I think, 2 opportunities are tax-based. We're collecting more taxes. More people come in, we're collecting more taxes. We can put more money towards things. The other thing is, growing our community, and look at the amount of people who registered to run for office in Ferndale right now. And I think that has to do with our growth. People are paying attention to what's going on in Ferndale, and they want to be involved. 2 of the major challenges are, things that we talk about every day: water and housing. And especially affordable housing, because there's been, times where, water and affordable housing, and we will do our best to solve those problems.
And candidate Milanoff.
I think the growth will slow down just as market cycles work their way through. The 2 challenges is infrastructure, of course, is a really important one as we continue to grow. And then the cost of utilities, the cost of living as we grow, how is that going to impact us? But I want to encourage all of you that we'll work through all of these issues. We'll work through all of these. There's nothing that can't be worked through as a council member of 7 and the mayor, whoever it may be. We'll work through all these things. We've been there before. These are new challenges that we're facing. The 2 opportunities is, in a way, it puts us on the map. People know Ferndale or know about it more. How's that an opportunity? We'd like to invite more businesses to downtown. We'd like to be more vibrant, to be a lively city that people want to come visit. A lot of times, most of us go to Bellingham to do some things. I'd like to change that and stay within our community so we can go to parks, we can go to restaurants, we can enjoy our community, different activities, different events. There's a lot of things that we can and we will do. Thank you.
And candidate Milanoff, when you look at the Lummi Slater Road development, what are you anticipating the impacts to be of that development? And what do you think the city's role is, if any, in that development?
Again, that question, I'd have to get up to speed on the details of that project. I have seen what's going on there. I think the number 1 impact is traffic, more people coming through. But again, there's a positive note to that entire development, is that we'll have more people, we'll have more businesses, restaurants, as Mayor Muchler mentioned. We'll have that tax revenue coming in as well, or a portion of it. That's good because we need more resources. We'll never say no to more funding, more tax revenue, because we'll always be able to put that money to work. As far as any negatives, nothing that I can think of right now, but I'm sure that once the wheel starts spinning, we'll start to see how things get impacted, and then again work through those issues effectively and for the good of our residents.
And candidate Hawkinson.
Yeah, I think that the positives are that people will be brought to the area that would normally, pass by and not realize that Ferndale is a place to stop, which will bring people into Ferndale proper. And we're gonna be collecting tax revenue from that. Ferndale's not going to have to run that. We're not, gonna have to be directly involved, but we are going to benefit from that, which is fantastic. The only negative that I can see from it right now, just trying to pull something, is that it's going to include a truck stop, and that's going to take away a little bit of revenue from a business who's already been in Ferndale. But hopefully it ends up to be a wash for them. But that is on my mind, because we want to take care of the businesses and residents who are already here.
And beginning with candidate Hawkinson this time, in 2011, Ferndale switched back to a well system, causing some complaints from citizens. While the hardness in the water has been addressed to some degree, there have been continued complaints about taste. What do you anticipate the concerns and/or issues will be with wells as the city moves into the future, and what are your strategies for dealing with that?
I think that, the issues and concerns are probably going to be a lot of the same as they are now. With the hardness of the water, which is hard on people's appliances, the taste of the water, which varies, can vary greatly from day to day. And, I've met with people who work for the city of Ferndale and with council members, and they have told me over and over again that there's going to be a process involved. There's going to be, tastings and, different opportunities for everyone to get involved and put in their 2 cents on that. Other than that, I think that we had to switch to the aquifer because the PUD was really pushing us to get off of the river, and the city of Ferndale finding this deep water aquifer, I think, is probably our only option at this point that's going to be affordable for the residents.
And candidate Bulanov.
If I have a choice between drinking from the river or from the deep well of our planet Earth, I would take the second. So I'm grateful that we've had that opportunity as a city to go deep and reach some of this cleanest water that I think any of us will ever taste. And as far as, I like the taste of water, but I understand other people may not. I would love to educate further and give opportunities for people to understand how filters can work and the efficiency of them, the cost, maybe creating some incentives to be able to give a way for people to have better tasting water if it doesn't taste good for them. For my wife and I, we just used a refrigerator and it tastes wonderful. But again, I would love to hear the residents, what the specific concerns are, and be able to come up with plans and ways to work through that issue. So.
And this next question will begin with candidate Bulanov. What have you done, or how have you acted to prepare for the role of city council? Attending council meetings, study of issues. What specifically have you done in preparation for your formal participation on the city council?
I have been to a number of council meetings, not all of them, not as often, but I have been there. I understand the way things work. Just working with the officials as well, understanding some of the common issues that we are dealing with, right? The traffic, utility cost. The way I work and the way I function is once I get into a role, I'm a quick learner. Again, in my business, when I was given a property that was mismanaged, 150 units, everything was in disrepair, but within a month, things were back in order. That's just the way I function. So once I'm given the opportunity, I promise to learn as quick as I can to understand the workings, because standing on the outside of it right now, there's no way for me to know all the intricacies and everything that happens within the city. But again, I look forward, I'm excited to learning as quick as I can and being an effective council member, getting all of the council members on board so that we are a voice of one for our residents, and that we are working as hard as we can to hear your voice and answer to it. Thank you.
And candidate Hawkinson.
So I have been attending council meetings for the last 8 to 9 months. I missed, 1 or 2 in the last 8 or 9 months, since before I announced that I was running. I've also met with several city officials. I've met with council members, both past and present. I joined the North County Poverty Task Force through the city of Ferndale. I've volunteered through the Arts Commission to get experience with that. But most importantly, I've been out there talking to the residents and, getting the views of people who have been here for a long time, people, who have maybe been here 5 or 10 years, and people who are new to the area, because I think that all of those perspectives really matter.
And beginning with candidate Hawkinson, in your opinion, will there be significant impacts to the city due to climate change? And what, if any, city plans, legislation, or policies would you propose to mitigate such impacts?
I think that taking care of the environment needs to start at a city level, and we need to lead by example. Right now, we don't even recycle downtown. There's, you know, garbage cans all over the place, but we don't even have, you know, like city recycling downtown. So really, I think that it needs to be a lead by example thing rather than a forcing residents to participate in a program. Yeah, thank you.
And candidate Bulano.
It may be a hot topic. The answer would be no. I don't think we'll see any significant impacts. I've been to Africa, I've been to some of the third world countries and seen how people live there and the impacts of the environment or to the environment. I think it's important that we consider, you know, our lifestyle and how that may impact the environment. And I'll say this carefully, but I think that what was said 50, 40 years ago is also being said today with no major changes. But again, on a small level, on a city level, I think our citizens are really good about taking care of the cities and recycling and putting the garbage in the garbage bin and being good stewards of that. But if there's ways that we can improve, and if there's anything that stands out to the residents that may be an issue, we'd love to hear back from you and sort of address that as it comes in. But thank you.
And candidate Bulano, we'll start this next one with you. Do you think that public recreational facilities in Ferndale are adequate for its growing population? And if not, what specifically would you propose to increase or improve these facilities, and how would you plan to fund it?
Well, we're going to continue to grow, and I think that we need to grow and invest in our infrastructure and the facilities as well. So no, I don't think that they're up to par, but we will continue to improve them, find ways to find more resources so that we can allocate it to them. I am on the Parks and Recreation Board where we make decisions and we find ways to have good, exciting, viable parks with restrooms and utilities there. So we're always working through those issues and looking at how we can improve. Yeah, thank you.
And candidate Hawkinson.
I feel like we could be doing a lot more, and like I said earlier, I don't feel like there's enough for us to do here in Ferndale. I recently put out a poll, and you know, everybody asked for a pool. We've been hearing that for a long time. But more than that, you know, people want public places where they can go that are safe, where there are activities, where they can send their kids, where they can be a community. And I think that the first way that we can look to pay for that, or at least, you know, the seed money, is to look at private and to look at businesses. You know, there are large businesses like Timken who provide grants for huge, or for big projects like that, for at least part of the funding. And I think, you know, like the library, if we can start a seed, it will grow. And I think that we can at least start off the project without reaching into your pockets.
And this is our last question. So, candidate Hawkinson, if you could change one thing in the city's zoning code, what would it be and why?
That is a great question. And I'm drawing a blank. I had an answer for this the last time we did this. I think that the work that the city has done to add, you know, accessory dwellings has been great. My friend Rebecca Czar would kill me right now for going blank on this question. And I hope that we can continue to improve in that way and to encourage, you know, multifamily housing in places where it makes sense. I mean, we don't want to put high rises in the middle of residential. You know, people have become used to their way of life, and they don't want it hugely disrupted like that. But I do feel that, you know, just reviewing everything and reaching out to our residents is going to be the best way to go.
And candidate Bulano.
That is a tough question. I think what we've already seen as far as the new codes and ordinances, they are good steps forward for higher density. However, I think one of the things we could do is maybe open up density in some other neighborhoods as well. It's more of a general answer, I understand. Because if we don't, we're going to continue growing outward. But if we can stay closer to the core in downtown as it gets revitalized, as we get new businesses, I think it would be good to get more people there, more foot traffic, which supports the local businesses. Yeah, I think that would be a possibly positive impact on the city and our residents as well. Thank you.
And so now for your 1 minute closing, it's candidate Bulano who's going to go first.
Paul Bulanoff, running for Council Seat 2. I appreciate everyone here and those listening online. I want to inspire especially the younger generation to get involved in politics. I want you to speak up, to engage in dialogue, conversations, use Facebook, use Instagram, whatever it may be. And being a resident who plans to stay a resident for a quite long time, I will work hard, I will answer, I will listen, I will put every effort forward to understand the concerns. And again, be an effective council member, not as an individual, but as all 7 of us, so that we can all understand where we stand on issues, bring all of us together, have a good relationship with each other so that we can be effective council members for the city, and continue to thrive, continue to flourish, and we will work through any issues. I promise you that. Thank you so much. Paul Bulanoff. Vote for Paul Bulanoff, Seat 2. Thank you.
And candidate Hawkinson.
So I've done many things in my life. I was in management for a church. I worked for the largest recruiting firm in the nation. I worked for a magazine. I've owned a successful cab company that continues to thrive. I now work for a nonprofit that finds jobs for people with disabilities in our community. I'm on the North County Poverty Task Force. I attend every council meeting. I talk to the public, I talk to the council, I talk to the people who work for the city. But it doesn't matter what we've done, it matters what we're going to do. And what I'm going to do is represent you. I'm going to listen to you. I want you to contact me. I urge you to reach out to me and tell me, what you think is going right, what you think is going wrong, what ideas of mine you think are good, and where you think that I can improve. And that's what I promised you. So vote Allie Hawkinson, Ferndale City Council, position 2.
Everybody, please join me in thanking the candidates.